If you and I want to be great storytellers, we've got to learn to master hearing the past, experiencing the present, and predicting the future. But we've got to have a few keys in place. 3 keys that I want to just establish. As Christian truth-seeking storytellers, number 1, we need to establish that God is the hero of every story. We live in a world that has made us the heroes. We read about David, and we want to be as heroic as him, but David was never the hero of that story. God was the hero of the story. Gordon Fee says, in the final analysis, God is the hero of all biblical narratives. Second thing, God's story is the foundation for all stories. It doesn't matter what stories we're telling, God's story is the undergirding and underlying story. Timothy Keller put it like this: the gospel story is the story of wonder from which all other fairy stories and tales of wonder take their cues. He says, when you know the story behind the stories, then you see it everywhere. From the ugly duckling who turns out to be a swan to Beauty and the Beast. When you pluck the string of the gospel, it never stops reverberating in your heart. There really is a beauty who kisses the beast. There really is a Hercules who defeats the villain. There really is a hero. There really is Jesus. So God is the hero of every story. God's story is the foundation for all of our stories. And thirdly, and most importantly, God's story is redemptive. It's redemptive. Tolkien, the great storyteller, describes the resurrection as a eucatastrophe of the incarnation. What does he mean by eucatastrophe? A joyful catastrophe, the tragedy that turns out to be a triumph, the sacrifice that turns out to bring joy, the weakness that ends up bringing strength, and the defeat that ends up being victory. It's taken from the Greek word. He's made it up, of course. There's no such thing as a eucatastrophe, or no English word, but it's taken from the Greek word eu, which means good, as in the gospel, euangelion, a good message, or eulogia, a good word, from which we get the words evangelism and eulogy. Your job, my job, as truth tellers and storytellers, is to bring the EU, into play. Can I suggest it's not about you, it's about you. Our job is to tell the redemption story